We don't have anything that we're actually going that like.
Yeah, what was that?
It's me like pretending to pop a can open.
Oh.
No, when that opening ended, what I heard in my head was "Welcome back" and "Welcome in." But I was like, "Oh, James isn't here with us today."
Right. Welcome back.
I mean, it is kind of welcome back. 1 week ago, we were in Fort Worth, and now we're back in Fort Worth.
We are.
Here we are.
We are doing our thing. We got
to fire that planner who picks the schedule for us, though.
Okay.
We don't have beers, but what we have right now are some badass Bloody Marys.
These are good. We're at the National Barbecue and Grilling Association's yearly convention, I guess.
It is 9:35 in the morning. Wow. And immediately I was like, at 8 o'clock, I was like, this morning, I was like, we need alcohol.
Well, how do you think me and Matt feel? We've been up since 4.
Yeah, right.
I don't even know.
You set everything up here?
I don't.
And Jan just waltzed in?
Jan just waltzed in. And
I'm here.
Right. I don't know, guys. I am super stoked, super excited to be here. We have a badass spot. I think we have the best spot in the room.
Oh, this is super cool for sure.
Mm-hmm.
There's like thousands of people milling around in front of us right now. This is really cool.
Right. You don't even hear them. Yeah, you don't even hear them.
They're very quiet.
Right. Actually, so they have the lamb. It's a lamb
butchery right now class.
Yeah. So
butchery class.
You want to explain kind of what this convention is a little bit? Want to tell them about it?
Yeah, I think it's just the title says it all, right? It's a barbecue association and grilling association that got together, and they do an annual event every year. From what I've heard, it's always here in this area in Fort Worth, and it's been going on for like 36 years. 36
a long
years,
time. Yeah.
Right? So the major players in all of barbecue are here, and we were asked to come out, and we are going to take every advantage that we have, and we're going to do it. So
Right, yep. We've got a bunch of classes they're offering for folks, and
a whole hog cooking class. I know there's some like a lot of marketing things like trends in the rubs and sauce industry and a bunch of things like that.
There is, and just so you know, Jack's Old South with Myra Mixon, they're going to be here today, and they are actually competing against the high school team.
Well, I hope that happens. They said they were trying to team them up with the high schoolers, so to give them a little few pointers, and the high schoolers was like, "No, we don't need help. We want to compete against them.
Right.
We're good."
So I think they were trying to set that up yesterday. So we'll see if it pulls through.
Yeah. So I think that's what's happening. I think they told me it's like, so there's two different teams. One was Matt Pittman's team. And they were like they want to be called the GEDs.
Yeah.
But then they already said that Jack's Old South and Myra Mixon, those fellas, that they were already in.
They're already in it to win it.
Oh, okay.
So they're actually going to be competing against two teams, right? These high school teams. So
that's good though. They'll be top 3.
Right. No matter what. Hey, good job.
John likes those odds.
Yeah. So
I'll take it. So yeah, we should have different guests coming in, and a couple here and there. And so as you're listening to this, if it sounds like we have a different guest every 10 minutes, that's because we do.
I guess because we're famous. So there it is. All right. Yeah. Hey, listen, we are joined with Jeff Tracy from Barbecue Nation. Barbecue Nation.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for stopping in.
Well, I've had a busy schedule, Jan. I'm a Varouche salesman. So,
right.
But this seemed like the perfect spot. But thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Definitely. Yeah.
You guys do great. So,
it's just like I feel like we're in the same type of not job. It's not a job, right?
It's not a job.
This is something. This is our passion. We love this or whatever. But man, I mean, do you have any tips or
tell us all your secrets?
Yeah, what people trying to really trying to get into, I guess, the social media side, the podcasting side, or whatever. I mean, is it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Seriously, just for a second, if you're gonna do a podcast like you guys, you have fun, but you got to give out good information.
Yep.
You can't just sit around and BS with your buddies. Present company excluded.
Sure.
But I listen. I check out everybody's podcast.
Oh, we
just
do
like
too.
you.
Yeah.
Do, Is there information? Is there quality? Is there good guests? Or is it just 2 or 3 people sitting around talking endlessly about how they cook their brisket or their ribs?
Like how their weekend was almost, right?
Yeah. And so those get flushed out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
There's over 2 million podcasts.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's 8,192 food podcasts. So you've got some competition for listeners.
Sure.
So you got to give them something, or they're not going to listen to you.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's true.
That's
So,
right. How long have you been doing this?
What, upright and breathing, or
Yeah,
what?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Long time.
Long time, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I started in radio in college, and
Okay.
and Barbecue Nation is still primarily a radio show,
Right.
and I do some TV. I cook on TV, and Leanne's come in, but Barbecue Nation is almost 8 years old.
Nice.
Okay. I've been the cowboy cook on TV for 22 years this year, so a while.
Yeah.
A while.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I did horse and rodeo and horse show stuff prior to this on radio for a long time. Plus, I started as a rock and roll DJ.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
in LA when I was in college. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're in the Portland area now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We come out of there, but with all the technology, Leanne's in Florida. I'm in Portland. It's just like we're standing right here.
That's right.
Shows work, so it's all good. Yeah.
Very cool.
Did you guys survive last night? You okay?
I think most
we
of us
might
did.
have had a Bloody Mary this morning.
I
just
saw
to-
that.
Just
I
to
saw
top
that.
it off.
Yeah.
By the way, we're going to have him on just to talk about his Bloody Marys. I'm not. Listen. Just because I am an avid
comes.
Bloody Mary drinker or whatever else, that is top notch. That is a really, really, really good Bloody Mary. I'm just saying.
Well, I know it changed your outlook and demeanor this morning.
It did. It did. Yeah. It wasn't so glassy, right?
Yeah. You actually had
Yeah.
a focus point
Yeah.
that you could look at.
That's
It
what
was all
happens.
good.
That's what happens. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think in our world, the more the merrier. But again, you got to give them good content. If you don't give them good content, you're having fun, and you'll have 50 friends listen, but that's about it.
That's right.
So yeah.
That's right. No, I think you're exactly right. I mean, it's we've struggled with this a little bit too, because there have been times when we've actually recorded, and it just
not there.
sounds like friends are talking, but
Yeah.
there's nothing there, and I'm like, this is not a good podcast. This is not a good.
Yeah.
It's not we want to put more meat potatoes out there,
Right.
And it's hard to be creative sometimes because yes, we know what a brisket is. We know how to cook a brisket, and those are things that, a lot of people know how to do, but at the same time, I forget just how many people don't know.
Right.
And that's really the target that we're looking at, a brisket or looking at a different cut of meat.
Ribs,
differently.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something that, here in the last probably year and a half or so, we've been really pushing, not just a brisket or anything else, like different ways to cook, like a pork butt, right?
Right.
Very simple. Go buy the pork butt, whatever else. But we started having our butchers, or we go home and cut it ourselves, and we're cutting them down into steaks, and we're grilling those up. And we've done this for hundreds of times now and fed thousands of people almost, right? And every time we do it, we have somebody new come up to us and go, I never thought about ever cutting this down and cooking this like a steak versus,
Right.
like I'm just trying to cook an 8-hour process, right? For a pork butt or whatever. And that's when I know I'm like, you know what, this is very cool, right? This is a very cool. I feel like we're getting a message across at
Right.
this point,
Right.
So
Well, you
I
got to
don't know.
remember, in the competition world, what is there? Let's be generous and say 10,000 people.
Yep.
Okay. But there's 90 million plus people that actually grill and barbecue just in the States.
Yep.
So who's your audience going to be? You're going to go after the majority of the people with some of it geared towards competition, or are you going to go totally to competition because the folks at home don't know enough yet to do a lot of that?
That's right.
So you got to balance that.
Yeah. No, I think you're exactly right, and that's what I like. I mean, like just listening to y'all and how y'all do y'all's format and everything else. I mean, like, and here's the deal. I think we're not stealing a bit or stealing whatever else, but I think it's a form of flattery. When you're looking at other people's stuff and you're like, hey, listen, I really like that format, or I want to incorporate something kind of similar to this into our podcast.
Yeah.
So
If you're not listening to anybody else, you're not learning. You gotta,
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
You got to listen to them.
Yeah, and I still do that, and I get little tidbits, if you will. Maybe it's format, maybe it's content, maybe it's working with, because I flew solo for a long time, and Leanne's been with me since November of last year. So what's that, 6 months?
Yep.
Roughly. And it was a little different having a partner in the studio, albeit virtual.
Sure.
But you still got to learn not to step on them when you're talking and they're talking and this and that. So, but I think it adds if you'll grant me this, a little more flavor to the show, to having her on, because she comes from the competition world and I come from the consumer side of the world, of the food world. So it works out pretty good.
Yeah, between the two, you cover all your bases. So
Yeah. Just got to watch those evening gatherings around here.
Right.
That's the only thing.
Right. Yeah. They'll
have you
definitely-
enjoyed the event so far? I mean, it's pretty
Really?
early on.
No, good. Listened to Amy this morning about marketing rubs and spices. I mean, this is something you guys have covered too. Everybody goes, man, you go to somebody's house that's a great, name it, ribs, tri-tip, whatever. And they say, well, I use my secret flavorings, my secret rub. And then they get the bright idea they want to go on the market with the rub and find out how hard it is, like that. So I did that years ago, and I quickly got out of it because I didn't have enough time to dedicate to it,
Yeah.
and it's an expensive process. But, yeah, learning about that, learning about there was the guys over here cutting up a lamb, I think all that's really good information.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really. So we were in the lamb
Yeah.
class, and I found it to be. I had so many questions. I felt like if I ask anything, I'm going to ask 100 questions, and at that point, they're going to kick me out of here. Right? just shut up. But I mean, that's something that we don't like. We don't consume a lot of. I don't consume it. Well, maybe y'all do or whatever. But I'm like, man, maybe we should start consuming a little bit more lamb. I mean, especially with the prices of beef and steaks and just everything's gone up tremendously. Right. I'm like, maybe this is another source to, which I found that very useful. Even you got people here that are in the restaurant business. They have several locations. Are they incorporating that lamb on their menu now? If not,
They probably will.
Yeah.
They probably will.
Why not?
You got to watch Meathead, though, because he'll take it home.
Right.
Still making noises, but he'll take it home because he really loves lamb. So you can ask him about that when you get him on the show. But he does.
I think I saw him put a lamb shank in his pocket.
Yeah, we'll ask him that.
Yeah.
Why is your pants wet? What's going on?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, he'd love that.
I love it.
So let me ask you guys something.
Yeah.
You've been doing this now for a while. What have you learned? Not just on the technical side of doing a show, but what have you learned?
I like learning about all. I mean, just me personally, I like hearing about how people like to cook their briskets and different, like who uses butcher paper, who uses tin foil.
Right.
And Mo Cason does like a combination of the both. You know what I mean? I just like hearing everybody's little different style, and there's no wrong one. It's just what works for this person,
right?
So I just love hearing everybody's styles of
stories.
Cooks.
Yeah.
A lot of it's regional too.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah,
very
crazy.
regional.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I think for me, it's just kind of the connection you get with each person that comes on. They add a little different flavor or flair to what they're doing, just like Matt was saying. But yeah, I don't know. I think that I think for me personally, it's just the fact that you're connecting with somebody else over a topic that we're just like passionate about, And we were saying this earlier. Sometimes the podcast it'll go on, and we're at the end of it, we're like, we didn't really talk much about barbecue, but it's a lot about how the struggles they're having. Like one of our favorite segments we have is the barbecue fails segment, right? And it's like it's telling somebody else like they're expressing or showing like, yeah, I had a catering event, and I burnt the entire main protein portion of what we're turning in, whatever else. Or I was cooking for a birthday party, and I went inside for 10 seconds and came out, and I had a 4-alarm fire. And right? Yeah. That's the part I think is very relatable. That you can say, look, hey, listen, if you're not failing, you're not going to be the greatest cook, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
You've got to fail a little bit, and that's what I like about it. Just hearing the honesty of it.
Well, I think I've interviewed, like you guys have, a lot of people, and I think that even if I didn't agree with their technique, maybe their seasonings, whatever, if it works for them, because in barbecue, that's why we have the slogan, turn it, don't burn it.
Yeah.
The only bad thing in barbecue that you can really screw up is if you burn the snot out of it,
Yeah.
But other than that, if your flavor profiles work for you at home, perfect.
Yeah.
It works for me,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there's a lot of wrong answers out there. Some of them that I might not personally think are that flavorful or whatever, but that doesn't matter.
Yep.
That doesn't matter.
Yep.
They're not cooking for me or you.
Right.
They're cooking for their clients or their family, and that's fine. And that's what we want to hear. Get to
Yep.
know what they're doing. So, yeah.
No, definitely.
That's
and how regional it is, right?
Right.
Every region of the United States has a different take on their barbecue. And that's, 20 years ago, I don't know that the barbecue explosion has happened, right?
Right.
It's happened for the last 15, 20 years, right? I mean, but prior to that, I don't know if you're getting the same excitement, that you're getting now. Like, everybody can be a pit master. Everybody has, their YouTube has transformed how to do anything.
Right.
I'm just in awe most of the time when I'm thinking, like, I didn't have these platforms when I was trying to get into barbecue and trying to learn how to cook something or whatever else. And if I did, I probably would have way better cook
Yeah.
earlier on
Yeah.
than I am now,
Well, and I think one thing that has helped, and no nasty emails, folks, the woke thing.
Oh, yeah.
Ever since that's come around the last few years, now, and you were talking about different regional profiles. Well, we all kind of knew about them, if you will. I mean, if you were down south, you definitely knew about the Carolinas and the vinegar sauces and
Yep.
this type of thing, and mustard and all that. And then there was Texas. God, everybody in the world knows about Texas. And their profile's really a lot of beef.
Yep.
Okay. But now you got Santa Maria, and you got Kansas City, and you've got northern Idaho, and you've got all this, and they've all added their own little style and
Yep.
techniques to it, and it's kind of cool to learn that.
Yeah.
I think.
It is, and the flavor profile has changed. Like the wood you're cooking on. If you're cooking in East Texas, or you're cooking in West Texas,
Right.
two different
different things.
flavor profiles, right?
Yeah.
And we were talking with Mo. I think he was on when we had him on. That was one of the things he brought up. He was like, he went and competed in a West Texas area barbecue cook-off, and he was like, I learned really quickly. I better have some mesquite.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
If I don't, I'm not going to hit the judge's profile at
Right.
that point.
And then you got
So.
guys like Myron, who has his own pecan grove,
Yep.
raises his own wood, so to speak.
Yep.
When he's not shooting squirrels, he's out there chopping down wood.
Yeah.
I think the boys do it, but it doesn't matter. But again, that's another flavored profile that. I'm from the Northwest, and we use a lot of ash. Some ash up there, but we use a lot of oak
Yep.
up there. We use a lot of alder and apple up in that area because that's what we've got.
Yep. Yeah.
We don't have a lot of pecan trees or hickory or anything like that.
Right.
So it works.
Right.
Yeah, it's all good. I think you guys are doing a great job. Truthfully.
Hey,
Thank
listen,
you.
coming from you, I appreciate you saying that. You have no idea because we're big fans.
Oh well,
Yeah.
So.
I know I picked up your bar bill, so I wasn't a big fan, but
I was wondering who paid that.
yeah.
Right.
No, it's good. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anytime if I can help you guys.
Great.
Nice.
Thanks for coming on.
You bet.
Yeah. So before we go any further, let's just go ahead and announce who we've got on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we've got James with, and I'm not going to mess this up, Cucamonga Cattle.
Cucamonga Cattle Company.
There it is.
There it is.
Okay. Cool, man.
And
no, I'm not leaving out Jake. Okay,
come on,
sir. Jake is here also. And y'all?
He's my son.
Yeah.
Okay. So make
No,
sure.
he's my-
Make sure I'm
he's
saying
my-
right. I didn't want to say
that's Grandpa.
nephew. I didn't want to say right. Okay. Cool. So yeah, I mean, if you don't mind, give us a little backdrop of what you guys are doing.
We're here for the National Barbecue Association conference. I'm actually a board member.
Nice.
And we're here to get together with our barbecue buddies. I sell barbecue rubs that we make out. I get them made in St. Louis and I sell in California. And we're just out here doing what we do.
Nice.
Were you just sitting in on that marketing class they had? We were at the
Yeah.
Lamb Butchery one, so I didn't catch that. But
Yeah,
was it pretty good, pretty informational?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's
good.
a lot. There's so much out there. I mean, I've been doing this for 10 years, and I'm still a little guy on the totem pole. But the stuff that they're putting out there is stuff like I'm like, I know.
Yeah. Right.
Let's do
right.
this. Come on.
How to open doors and just getting your name out there, marketing.
It's got to do with your labels, with your identity that you're building for your brand, because that's what it's all about, is your brand. It's not you're selling your brand. You're not selling rubs. You're not selling T-shirts. You're not selling wine. You're selling your brand, no matter
Yep.
what you're doing.
Yep.
And so, getting your brand be one of those that people will notice on the shelf. You know, are you using the right color scheme? Are you using the right size? I mean, there's just so many things.
And you know, to be honest with you, something I never really thought about was marketing and brand recognition or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like how when you're developing your name, right, and just putting that on a bottle, how recognizable is that point? And is it so perfect, right? But that's something a lot of people don't think of, and it's like how to. Because maybe it's a not yours. Maybe it's a good idea. Then you put it on a bottle, and then you're like, somebody tells you like that's not good. You need to you're in the wrong color. You're in the wrong
Right.
The whole 9 yards, right? And there's so much science behind.
Yeah.
You know.
It used to be you could put a cute little pig on there.
That's it.
And have it going, oh my, and it's, oh, that's cute. I love that. I'm gonna buy that. Byron's butt rub. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but as you go to now, we've got more. Like, I'm a premium brand. We're a little higher end stuff. The labels are a little more like wine labels as opposed to something on your computer.
Yep.
There's just so much more you have to do to compete out there now.
There is.
We just talked to Warpig recently.
Yeah.
I think he just rebranded everything.
Yeah.
Just trying to get that brand recognition more. Yeah.
And luckily, I am like a throwback because I started with that, and now everybody's coming to do this branding. That's I've seen that.
Right. Yeah.
So I didn't have to rebrand this time.
Recognizable.
It's more because I went with more of a classic look as opposed to something cute that would, hey, that grabs my attention.
Well,
Yeah.
like the Matt Pittmans, right, and the meat church.
Meat church.
right? You
He's
see
a
those.
genius.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
Oh my God, I love his stuff. He comes out with these T-shirts. I'm like, damn, my brand doesn't do that. It doesn't evolve well into that. And he's got the little head and the church. It's just
I know.
the 70s
Yeah.
throwback. I love that stuff.
Like even the rubs, like the Holy Gospel. You're like,
Oh,
Jesus,
yeah,
like why
that's-
is that so good? I was thinking of the other day, like a rub. That I was like, I could call it this. I'm like, no, I'm just copying what I've already seen. Like I don't know. And
This is where mine. I have a Trail Boss. I'm a cowboys cattle company. Come on. So I've got Trail Boss. I've got Prairie Dust. Got Double Barrel, and
Nice.
my newest beef rub is Range Rider.
I gotta
It is
try- I
so
gotta- I
hard
gotta order
coming
some of
up
this
with
stuff.
names.
Yeah, I'm going to order some stuff from you. We're always so we do a lot of podcasting and whatever else, but we also do a lot of product stuff, and we will cook with it.
that's the good part.
We'll showcase it, and here's the deal:
We're honest.
We are brutally honest.
We're honest
and
with
we actually did some. We had some wings. It was called Just Wing It or Wing It seasoning. Remember that? And we did. I was like, you know what? Great.
Let's just wing it.
We were brutally honest with it, and we went to a cook-off like 2 hours away from our house. This dude walks over to us and is like, "You're grabbing the brisket?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "You reviewed my seasonings." I was like, "Holy shit! Are you going to hit me right now? Like, what is happening?" And he says something, and I was like, "The wings?" I was like, "You had the best lemon pepper seasoning for wings I think I never had, right?" I said, "But the other stuff?" He goes, well, some of those other things were meant to be paired with other things. I'm like, we didn't tell us that. You just we bought the wings, or we got the seasonings. You didn't say how to use it, so we used them independently to do a flavor profile for each one, right? And he would not let it go. He was just like, I was like, man, I don't know what to say here. I was like, I guess we're at an impasse, I don't. If you want a different result, you should have told us, use garlic powder, or use salt with this, or something, But I did tell us, like, but by the way, that lemon pepper, that shit's fire.
Yeah,
it's
really good.
Really
you
good.
try to have a pretty thick skin, because some people don't like your stuff. Hey, you know what? I don't like your stuff.
Right.
Yeah, but it's all different. I mean, it's such a huge market. I'm not Meat Church.
Yeah.
They have some great stuff, but I don't use their stuff. I don't like the honey one. I don't like the. It just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
But if you use mine with that honey stuff,
Right.
Cancel Christmas, that was really good. And, that one gave me the color I was looking for. That one gave me, just that little bit of something.
Right.
And I have no problem with that, man. It's like,
we do a lot of we do a lot of mixing, so we're
Yeah,
always
you have
mixing different seasonings and whatever, and cooking with them. And when I say we're cooking, this is like normally on a Wednesday, we record on a Wednesday. So Wednesdays, a lot of times we'll grill something at the same time right before we podcast, so we can have maybe something very relevant to what we're about to review or anything else like on our taste buds, and then go talk about it. But Friday comes, well, let's grill. Saturday comes, we're going to cook something else, and this goes from like fish all the way down to brisket to we did alligator.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
whatever somebody throws at you.
Yeah. I mean, it's just we did a bacon. We wrapped an entire alligator in bacon.
It's a lot of bacon.
Dude,
It was a lot of bacon.
So much bacon, and we smoked it for about 4 hours or so,
Something like
5
that.
hours.
Yeah.
And nobody knew what temperature to pull this thing at, so I'm Googling. I'm like, I think we're at the temperature we need, right?
Gator.com.
And then
Right.
so we pulled it, and the bacon's perfect, right? And then we took and shredded it all, and made alligator tacos.
Nice.
Holy crap! It's like a texture of chicken, the flavor of a crawfish, kind of.
Well, we also put crawfish seasoning on it too, which helped.
That's right. That's right.
I don't know why it tastes like that.
Yeah, it's so weird. Now I'm starting to second guess my whole thing about alligator.
That messed me up.
Right. But man, it was super delicious. But that's, like I said, we're always trying to do something different, and of course we record it, we put it on TikTok or anything else. So I don't know. It's
Hey, we post our own stuff that fails too. So
Yeah,
That's right.
It's like as a KCBS judge, I know that everybody out there who's cooking don't use something out of the box and say, there it is, I hope it works. They're always augmenting with something.
Yep.
Whether it's sugar, butter, on the rub, more salt, more whatever.
Yep.
I don't do that. If I'm cooking competition, I don't use my stuff straight. That's silly. This is competition. It's not backyard. Different beastie.
Well, it's that one bite, right?
Yeah.
You're only getting
You're
one
getting
bite.
that one
and
bite.
You've got to put the most punch in
gotta
your
pop.
mouth
It's
bite
gotta
you
pop.
can do. Yeah.
It's got to make me go, ooh,
Yeah.
that's good. Chicken
Now,
is always easy.
Have you ever been judging and you have a bite and something was so good that you're like going back trying to get another piece of it? Yeah, does that happen?
You'll sit there and you take your bite and you don't want to fill up because that's if you eat all that, it's like 2 pounds of food.
Yeah.
And it's like by the time you get to brisket, you want to kill somebody. It's like no,
Yeah.
but no, you get to the point like you're always hungry when chicken gets there,
Yeah, I can imagine.
and
yeah.
chicken always smells so good. All the barbecue sauce,
yeah.
and it's like, so you take that first bite, and chances are that first one you get is going to be really good just because. But occasionally you'll get that one that looks like somebody's stepchild that they didn't really care for, but you take that bite and you're like, okay. So later on, when we're all done, you're just kind of sneaking pieces of that one again, and pretty soon that one's all down to the bone, and the rest of them are sitting there. But yeah, you do that with the ribs, and there's that one rib that you just keep picking at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll sit there until they're done. Okay, I got to clear it.
Now,
But-
I remember when I first joined the team, and they were asking for people to come judge, before it got to the final judge table.
IBCA is different though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
it's entirely
That's how it
they
is.
just pull random people.
Yeah, people off the street.
And the problem with that is like you get these power drinkers, right? And you're like,
Yeah.
dude, this dude barely made it inside the tent, and yet he's judging brisket right
Yeah.
now. I'm putting all my faith in your 18 pack, this sucks, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but you know, here's the deal. At the end of the day, it's still a blind draw, and you know what? Maybe if you notice the judges have been drinking a lot, and you're like, oh my god, those guys have been power hour for the last 8 hours. Then yeah, maybe you should have a little saltier take to it or whatever
Yeah.
else. If not, you may have to dial back on the salt. It's just I don't know. It's a crapshoot sometimes. At the same time, being consistent with your cook.
That's what's winning is
Yeah.
people that are consistent. Out in California, Luton Booty, he's killing it.
Yeah, I've heard that name.
Yeah, Sterling Smith.
Yeah.
He's just killing it. He there was a competition this weekend, and he got GC on Saturday, and then yesterday I think he got like 8th or 9th.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah, and that's the thing. One day he GCs, the next day he's
Right. Right.
But you know, still he's in the top 10. I can't bitch about that.
No,
But
no.
yeah, consistency. I mean, the guys that I know that win consistently know what they're cooking. They know how they're cooking it. They know what they're putting in there, and then they say, okay, that one, I'm going to stick with that. Then they say, oh yeah, I changed it this much, and we got 3rd place.
Yep.
I went from 1st place to 3rd place, and it's that easy because you only get that one bite.
That's right.
Because you know, you only get that one chance, and you know there's 6 guys at the table, and they all have their favorite flavors, and you know you go back and forth. Like Jake, he judges completely differently than I do. I'll come over and I'll tell him, yeah, we had crap chicken today, and he's like, no, you're really good today. I'm like, yeah.
But sometimes it's the exact opposite, where like he's like, oh yeah, everything was great, but mine was just like 5 all across.
Right.
And with KCBS, you know, the lowest scores at that table usually get thrown away. So like,
Right.
Jake gets thrown away a lot.
Right.
yeah, I get thrown away a lot.
Damn.
But
So let me ask you a question. So for KCBS, a lot of people have never been a part of KCBS, or maybe they have, and we're the ones that don't. But on the chicken category, you're actually picking up and taking a bite of the chicken, right?
yeah,
A piece of chicken.
A piece of chicken.
We
right?
don't like a lot of the others. They give you half a chicken and you take a bite off of it.
That's IBCA.
That's IBCA.
So you have to cut a
Yeah, they
piece
give you a
off,
fork.
take it, and then you got to throw it away. And
Yeah,
you
no.
get a new fork.
We
and,
get
Yeah.
a tray with at least 6 pieces in it.
Yep.
6 judges has to have at least 6 pieces. If they don't have 6 pieces, DQ.
Okay.
And over that's fine because the other people want to eat too. But no, we get that piece. That's our piece. Don't touch it. It's mine.
Okay.
Stay away.
Okay.
I
So
will
but
hurt
is
you.
it any piece they want to turn in, or is it like
Yeah,
a thigh, or is it a?
It can be any part of the chicken.
Okay.
99% of the time, it's a thigh.
Yeah, it's juicy.
A
it's-
lot of guys are moving
starting
toward
to do
legs.
legs. Yeah.
Yeah, and it used to be every once in a while you get a leg,
Yeah.
and now it's about a third of the time you're going to start getting legs, and so that's nice because it's a change, and maybe once in a blue moon you'll see chicken breast.
Now, what do
And
you
it's a
two
new
prefer?
thing.
Honestly,
I
the
hate
legs.
thighs.
Right? Hate thighs?
I hate thighs, but through KCBS, I eat a lot of them, and so I've learned to enjoy what it is. But mostly they trim them enough to the stuff that I don't like isn't in there. There's
Yeah.
too much fat stuff
Like
in
you
there.
have a bunch of pockets of fat.
Yeah,
things like that.
there's
But nobody
nothing
turns a
worse.
breast in.
I was gonna say
It gets dry
maybe
too, though.
once in a blue moon because it dries out so quickly.
Yep.
Unless you do it really good. I don't want to say anything, but I make
No,
really
go
good
ahead.
chicken breast. My wife is always amazed. You always make chicken and it's so moist. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
They plump it up at the store. I don't know. But yeah, and when we get a chicken breast, it's bone dry. It's like
Yeah.
when you take a bite.
Right. You see it. Like,
Yeah,
oh my God.
exactly.
That's
But, yeah,
that's what we have a
legs-
hard time with.
Yeah,
is-
but legs are really good if they're done. That's the hardest part with legs.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys will lollipop them because that kind of takes the guesswork out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
yeah. Right.
back and
It's
forth.
so different for us. Some of these cook-offs we do, we'll turn in a half a chicken, a whole half, and then they'll ask for
Chopped up.
chopped
Yeah.
or a different cut, right? So then we'll do a pulled chicken, and then we'll do a sliced chicken, and we'll put it in the box right next to it, so they can try it and still look at your half. But most times you're turning in both halves,
Yeah.
and so that's the hardest part is getting that thigh because you don't know where they're going to eat from. And so typically in the past we've kind of always given them the thigh
Because it stays moist.
facing towards them.
Yeah.
So they'll cut that first. But this last time we were at Austin Rodeo, 190 plus teams. I was like, serve the breast towards the person. I want them eating that breast. Fifth
They all
place
went for
chicken.
the thigh.
fifth place chicken out of 190
Nice.
plus teams,
Yeah.
right? So I was like, dang, like, did that just work in our favor? Did they just have a lot of thigh meat and go, thank God somebody gave us the breast
As long as
up
it wasn't
front,
dry,
you know?
you're flying.
Yeah, right. And that's something else a lot of people don't realize with chicken is that you can cook chicken to 160 and then let it carry up. And even some really, really high-end restaurants, they will borderline try to get below 160 and let it carry up to 160 because it has to maintain that
Yeah.
160 degrees for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's food safe at that point, right? At 165, it's ready, but you run the risk of it carrying over to 170 or 175 or whatever and drying out, right? So that's the problem we have. And it used to be our worst category, and now I think chicken's like one of our best categories.
Yeah.
The steak
Yeah.
cookers
Yeah.
are like that. They have to carry it because they have to hit that spot,
That's right.
or they're screwed. And
Yeah.
so they really have to work on that carryover cook. They want it, and it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's temperatures going to.
And a lot of times we don't know how long that thing's going to sit there
Yeah,
before it judges.
exactly.
It could be there for an hour for all we know, or
Exactly.
longer. So
Little
it's
known
got to
secret.
maintain noise now.
I just thought of this. In KCBS, you can turn in chicken salad
Really?
as long as the whatever you put in it
Is the
is
biggest?
under 1/8 of an inch.
Oh, an eighth of an inch. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Interesting.
an eighth of an inch
Son
rule.
of a
And we have
I didn't
had
even know that.
we have
Brisket.
had chicken salad turned in.
nice.
Now, how to do
Once.
though? How to do?
I'm sure it crashed and burned.
Yeah.
But you can do it.
I know. It's a barbecue competition. The first competition I did, I oversauced. I did legs. I oversauced them, and I got a comment. This is not a sauce competition. I'm like, I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
There was just a lot of sauce on
Should be
there.
like, are you serious? This is not.
Dude, really?
Well, can I do a redo then? I thought it was a sauce.
Really? It's like I
Yeah. Yeah.
had a gym moment there.
Well, at least you get comments, and that's something that we don't get. Like usually when we cook, and if you're not in the top 10, you don't know where you came in.
Really?
So we're always 11th.
Yeah, right.
Right. No.
Missed it by that
Right.
much.
But no, we try to get the feedback in the comments. It's so hard to get it sometimes, and
We
and
try really hard to give comments.
Yeah,
See,
they-
that's
but it's
what
hard.
I love.
They encourage us to give a comment card
Yeah.
if it's like a certain score or lower.
Sure.
Yeah,
It's
if
not
we
like
really like
required, but they
something,
encourage it.
or you really despise something.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you're in the middle, you know what you. It's like me for a lot of times. If I give you a bad score, if you tasted that, you know what the problem was.
You know.
And so
That's lighter fluid, bud.
Exactly.
Come on.
And you tell, and that's one of the things too, is that people don't realize that. Oh, that tasted like lighter fluid. Well, no, it didn't taste like lighter fluid.
Yeah.
But it reminds you of lighter fluid. It's just that's the beast that they're cooking on, and if they had a fire, whatever. There are so many things about judging that I like, and so many things about judging that I hate.
Yeah.
And individual judges, it's the same thing. You get the people that you don't want to invite to your barbecue, and you
Yep.
get the people that you'd like to hang out with. It's the same anywhere.
Yeah.
It's crazy stuff.
Yeah. Hey, before we go on this, where can we find your seasonings at?
www.cucacattleco.com.
Kuka.
We'll have that
See you.
spelled below.
CUCA
Yeah.
Cattle Company.
Cattle Company.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, we'll have it in
Cattle
the
Co.
description.
Yeah,
And then,
put it in the description.
and then, real quick, what's your favorite rub of the thing?
Our newest one, Range Rider, for sure.
That's your.
Yeah, it just gives such a unique flavor to the meat. It's just insane.
What's it called? Range.
Range Rider.
Okay. And
Good
yours?
stuff.
What's your favorite rub?
They're all my babies. I mean,
Yeah.
I like them more than I am.
Okay.
So,
It's true.
they all have their own merits. I can't pick a favorite because
Okay.
I use them every day, and because I'm always trying to think, how can I use these? So I use them constantly. And so it's hard for me to pick them up because what am I eating today? That's my favorite today.
Yeah.
So if we're doing beef, that new beef thing is really good. If I'm doing chicken, I got a killer chicken rub.
I'm
So
ordering this
it's
stuff,
just like-
I'm telling you right now.
It's worth it for sure.
Yeah. We're gonna. I'll tag you. So
Appreciate it.
we'll make an order or whatever else. I'll tag you, and if you got any pointers that like, hey, don't. First of all, I'm not cooking a steak well done, so it's not happening.
Only goes good on well done steak.
Right. But I'll tag you, and if you get any pointers, let me know.
Yeah, we
Okay.
have the website that I try to I'm putting my recipes on there now. I used to have it, crash died old site. Got to redo all the recipes, but I'm reformatting everything. So eventually, my recipes will be back on the website, and it shows you exactly how to use these things and where I've succeeded. And then on the Instagram, I show what I'm cooking, and this is what we do, and gives you examples of what I do. Facebook, same.
What's your Instagram?
Cucamonga Cattle Co.
Okay, same thing. Okay, making sure. A lot of people have different stuff sometimes, right?
Because if you try to spell Cucamonga, I mean, Bugs Bunny does Cucamonga. Abbott and Costello, Cucamonga.
Yeah.
James, Cucamonga. But the rest of the world,
what? Wait, what?
Cooked what?
What?
Cooked what?
Yeah, it's, that's why it's Cucamonga Cattle Co. because I got tired of spelling Cuca. And plus, Cucamonga is a long word. I understand. Cucamonga Cattle Company is a very long name. And whenever we were doing this, the whole process was Cucamonga Cattle Co. We're keeping everything the same. That's that whole branding thing we were talking about.
Right.
And that's what it comes back down to is I'm trying to make a business out of this.
Sure.
And this is what I do for a living. I've been doing it for 11 years, and the kids getting into it with me, and it's
very cool.
We're just having a blast.
Very cool.
Appreciate you guys having us on.
We appreciate y'all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
We're ready. All right, we got Meathead joining us, AmazingRibs.com. If you haven't heard of him or his website, you don't follow barbecue.
You're not in barbecue, right?
You guys have heard of it.
Yeah. If you're not if you don't know what AmazingRibs.com is, you're not Googling. You're not trying to get better for sure.
Oh, how nice of you to say that.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I normally try to stop everyone a little bit when we're talking just candidly, off the mic or whatever, because there's so many questions I have, and then we get into a conversation, and then we get back on the mic, and I'm going to bring it up again, right? So, but you've got a long history with the barbecue and such. Do you want to kind of give just a little, like, how did you get into this?
How did I? It was a dark and stormy night.
Yeah, I love it.
When I was a kid, Dad loved to barbecue, And I went out back and hung out, and his specialty was flank steak. Mm-hmm. And what's better than the smell of a steak on the grill? Mm-hmm. And it hooked me when, somewhere around 9 or 10 years old. And after a few years, maybe he'd let me have a little sip of beer while he was cooking, and that really did it,
Right.
But I've always been into food. I mean, in college, I used to schedule my classes so I could watch Julia Child in the morning. There's a good story that it may be too long for here, but I'll tell it and you can cut it out. But I worked at ABC Liquors in Gainesville, Florida, which is a chain of liquor stores in Florida, big chain. And they had a liquor store in the front and a bar in the back. And every Thursday, a guy would come into the bar in a pickup truck with a beer cooler filled with ribs. And these were fantastic. I'd never had anything like this. This was real barbecue, my first taste of real barbecue. And he would sell out. Everybody in the bar would buy these things. And I would take them home and share them with my fraternity brothers. And then we'd start looking for barbecue joints, and we started learning. And I stumbled into a place called YT Parker's Barbecue in Gainesville, Florida. And it was an old guy who had a pit out back, and he'd let me hang around the pit, and he taught me how you cook over an open pit. And I was hooked. Years later, I found out that the guy selling the ribs was Sonny of Sonny's Barbecue, one of the biggest barbecue chains in the world.
Right.
And he was cooking them in his backyard and driving from bar to bar, selling ribs. And so it was Sonny that got me hooked on ribs.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Does that have anything to do with your name that you started with Amazing Ribs, or did you just start with ribs? Your favorite?
No. When I started on the internet, I was with AOL when AOL was Facebook. I mean, AOL ran the internet for many years. I mean, if you're old enough, you have probably 100 discs from AOL because one arrived every week.
Right.
And they were stitched in a magazine. AOL bought Time Inc. They bought Time magazine. They were that big. I ran their food and drink section for years. And when I started on the World Wide Web, which was new, nobody had ever typed www on purpose, everything was randomized. I mean, there was no Google. You couldn't find anything. In fact, Yahoo was the leading search engine, and they listed everything alphabetically. Mm-hmm. So I did the old Yellow Pages trick.
Yeah.
Amazing Ribs starts with an A, so we'll be the first one listed under barbecue.
Yeah.
But it was a long time love. I started it as a hobby, and my neighbor used to be a butcher, and he challenged me to a rib cook-off. And I went looking for websites or books in Amazon on barbecue, and there were none. So I decided, okay, I'm going to start a website, Amazing Ribs,
Yep.
and I'm going to write a book. Well, this was back around 2000, 2001, and I finally got the book done in 2016.
I just got that book for Christmas this year.
Did you?
Yeah.
So you've got it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a bad book.
No, it's good. I haven't finished it, obviously, because I don't read that fast or that often. But I have
Can you even read?
definitely.
We're not sure about that.
It is the #1 best-selling barbecue book. It just crossed the 250,000 copy mark. And if a cookbook sells 10 to 20,000 copies, it's doing good. This is really, it's second only to the Barbecue Bible by Stephen Reichlin in sales in history. And it's divided in two parts. The first half is a science book.
That's what I was going to say. There's a lot of science behind it.
That's sort of my trademark. I'm really interested in the science, and it explains what is smoke, what is fire, what is meat, how do they interact, what happens when they interact. A lot of stuff that a lot of people don't know about, and it sort of specializes in myth busting. And then the second half are recipes that put the science to work. I think today, 2022, this is an era of technology. People don't want to just read a recipe that says, do this,
Right.
and then do this,
Yeah.
and then do this. They want to know, why do I do this? And what happens if I skip step 2? Or if I substitute brown sugar for the white sugar?
Yep.
And so that's the... So it's unlike any other barbecue book, and that's why it's really taken off, because it explains that soaking wood chips does no good whatsoever. There's a reason they build boats out of wood.
Yeah.
The
That's
wood
right.
doesn't absorb water.
Right.
And I prove it. I explain the chemistry of why a marinade is a surface treatment and it doesn't penetrate the meat. But I also explain why salt penetrates. It's the only thing that penetrates,
Right.
and that chemically why it's different than garlic and black pepper and sugar. And it's really cool in that regard. It teaches you, it's the old business of teach a man to fish versus giving him a fish.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
No, definitely.
Are you going to make like a revision to the book now and start adding in like the myths about beef tallow and all that kind of stuff?
I was gonna ask
This
him.
is the,
I
this
was
is
gonna
the hot
ask you.
new thing now.
Yes.
Beef tallow.
Yeah.
Beef is 75% water. Tallow is 98% fat. Oil. Oil and water don't mix.
That's right.
We know this. You can rub all the oil you want on the outside of a slab of beef, and not 1 ounce is getting into that beef.
Thank you.
Not at all.
Okay,
Under
it's
any
settled.
circumstances, no way, no
Yeah.
how, no matter. Now, it can melt and coat the surface, and it can season or flavor the surface. But you're talking about a 12 to 18 pound slab of meat. Maybe half a pound of it is the surface. Some of it can get into the tiny cracks and crevices on the surface, and there's a lot of microscopic cracks and crevices on meat. But there is no way it can get to the inside of the meat.
That's right.
And you can prove this also with marinades. Go get yourself a turkey breast or a pork loin and make up a marinade of whatever you want. You know, Coca-Cola, whiskey, marinate it overnight, marinate it for a week. Cook that meat, cut it in half, and take a core sample. You won't taste a damn thing. It'll just taste like turkey or pork or whatever. Only the salt can penetrate.
That's right.
Salt is it's the magic rock. It's 1 atom of sodium, 1 atom of chloride, and when they get wet, they get an electric charge, and they split. It's called ionization, and they can actually penetrate deep. It takes a long time. Sugar is at minimum of 23 atoms. It can't get in.
Yeah.
So when you take that turkey for Thanksgiving and put it in a 5-gallon bucket of apple juice, black pepper, garlic, sugar, and all the junk that you want, all you're doing is seasoning the surface. A lot cheaper just to get a good barbecue rub and sprinkle it on the surface. But salt gets in.
That's why the brines work so well.
Yes.
And the marinades, they just
It's
don't.
a treatment
Yeah,
on the surface.
right,
Rubs work as well or better. But brines do a lot of cool things. The salt will get in. Now, it's not pulling water in much, but what the salt will do is it amplifies the flavor without altering it.
Yep.
Garlic will alter the flavor. Black pepper alters the flavor. But salt actually amplifies the flavor, and it also attacks the protein and unwinds it a bit and helps it hold on to moisture. So salt will make your meat moister and more flavorful.
Nice.
So it's the magic rock, and you don't have to use a lot of it. Our rule of thumb is a half a teaspoon per pound of Morton's kosher salt. We standardize on Morton's kosher salt, not because they pay us, but I want a standard salt. And it drives me nuts when I read recipes and cookbooks and online, and it just says use a half a teaspoon of salt. What salt?
Yeah. Right.
Road salt?
Right.
I mean,
rock salt. What's
rock
happening?
salt?
Yeah.
Because the grain size alters the amount of sodium that gets in and chloride that gets into the meat. Think of it this way: if you had 2 trash cans, one filled with tennis balls, one filled with basketballs, there's a lot more air in the trash can filled with basketballs.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
Morton's kosher salt is a larger grain than Morton's table salt. It's basketballs and tennis balls. So you need to know which salt, and in fact, there's half as much sodium in the Morton's kosher salt than in Morton's table salt. So if you switch them, you can end up with too much salt or too little salt. And you need to know this. Recipe developers need to tell us which salt.
Which
And
salt
they
they're
don't.
using?
Yeah, I never even
No.
thought of that.
No. Yeah.
I got to
That's
finish reading the book, I guess.
yeah. See. Yeah, that is fantastic. Now I've seen the whole the college professor. He brings the jar in, right, and he says, it's got a bunch of maybe rocks or something in the thing. He goes, "Is this glass full?" Right, and then everybody says yes. And he takes something a little smaller, right, maybe sand or something, and he pours that in there, and he goes, "Is this glass full?" And you're like, "Yes, it's full, right? It's full." And he pours something in a little finer than that, and he keeps adding to this jar that you think is full already, right? And then at the very end, it's a liquid that goes in, right? And it's like now the glass is taking all the surface area up. It's completely full.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the same premise for the kosher salt and the table salt, right? And I've messed around and tried to make an own rub, and depending on what I'm using, I've come back and like, this is the worst, saltiest rub I think I've ever put together. And it's because I'm using a different salt altogether.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And the other thing that is so crucial that drives me nuts is that most recipes you see in books and newspapers and magazines don't tell you what temperature you should be cooking to.
Yep.
They'll often say preheat your oven to 350. And when the juices run clear in your chicken, it's done. No!
Right.
I mean,
right.
we know that you can kill all bacteria at 165 or around 160 to 160 almost instantly. And we also know you can kill all bacteria at 131 in about 2 hours. It's a time and temp ratio. And all the sous vide cooks know this.
Yep.
But it's time and temp. But it's all about the temperature. And if you want to cook food so that it's safe, you have to know what the internal temperature is. Besides, I mean, who wants to stand at the head of the table and pass around steaks for everybody, and they cut into it and it's well done?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I mean, I have nothing more. And you spend a lot of money on a steak. A medium rare steak is 130 to 135 degrees. Period.
Yep.
You want to serve a great steak, get yourself a digital thermometer. This is 2022. that dial thermometer you have in the kitchen drawer is a worthless piece of junk. Put it out in your driveway and back your car over it. Get a digital thermometer. And you can get a darn nice digital thermometer for $20-$30.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you'll know within 5 seconds exactly what the temperature of your meat is. 160 degrees for chicken. It's safe. It's pasteurized. 130 to 135 degrees for a steak. It's medium rare. Never overcook and never get anybody sick.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that because, 20 years ago when I got into the competition cooking, back then we didn't have like the ThermoWorks or the ThermoPens, right? And so it was a lot different trying to figure out when your brisket's going to be a perfect time to pull. And so we were always poking it, right? And then it was almost, you're gambling at that point. Like it was almost a timetable. Like it's been on the pit I've been cooking at this temperature for 10 hours. This is where I should be, right? But each piece of meat, depending on the year, how hot it is outside, is it a very humid day, not a humid day?
Right.
It all takes, and to be honest, I think the moment that I was like, with that ThermoPen, I was like, it made me a better cook. It makes everybody a better barbecuer with that.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. Not only the internal temperature of the meat, but you said you were cooking at such a temp. You didn't know what temp you were cooking at in those days.
Yeah, Brent, no.
Because your grill came with a dial thermometer.
Yep.
But that's a bimetallic device. A technology was invented in the 1800s. It's not terribly accurate. It's really slow. And on a grill, it's in the dome. Which is great if you're going to eat the dome.
Right. It's where heat rises, right?
Right. But you want to know what the temperature is down alongside the meat.
Yep.
So you need a probe next to the meat.
That's right.
Yeah.
And what's cool is this year, as we sit here, I know of at least 2, maybe 3 gas grills that have thermostats coming out. And that's never happened before. I've been begging for it for years. I got a thermostat in my oven at home. And a few years ago it burned out. I was able to go buy a new one, a replacement, for $30. Why can't my gas grill have a thermostat? So I can set it for $325. So I can set it for $275.
Yep.
And have it. And now they're coming out with that. Now pellet smokers have had that.
Right.
And charcoal grills have had that with the thermostatic controllers. But gas grills never had. And of course, what's the most popular grill in America?
Gas grill.
Gas grill.
Yeah.
So finally, they're getting around to it this year, and I think that's going to be a revolution in backyard cooking. I think it's going to make backyard cooking more accessible to young people, to people, women who've been intimidated by the grill or by their husbands.
It's funny. Is my mom actually? My dad would, he'd do the big pits and whatever. But as a young kid, I remember my mom going outside, and we had the old, what's the
Old Smoky?
Old Smoky or something, right? And we had one of those, and she did predominantly a lot of the grilling.
Really?
And
That's rare.
My dad, we owned a barbecue restaurant and a smoke shop and whatever else. And he's like, no, I've done all this before. And she's like, well, I want some grilled chicken. Well, there's the charcoal grill. Go do it.
I tell you, I'll never forget the day I came home and there's my wife standing at the grill and my heart jumped into my mouth.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you doing? That's my grill.
Step away from the machine. Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, she's a really good griller now, and I'm okay with that. But
right.
It was quite a surprise. Hey, you go back to caveman days, and the guy was the hunter, the women was the gatherer, and they were also responsible for keeping the fire in the cave.
Yep.
They were the first pit masters.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I don't know what happened. I don't know how we got control of the fire and the remote control. But somehow or other, we took over.
I'm not giving those up, though. Yeah. No, so, you go back, and something else is like, having people like you that give out so much information, and I tell everybody, but YouTube really it's a revolution for people that can go to YouTube and they can watch it. And a lot of people don't, I can read it and understand it and apply it, but a lot of people can't do that, right? They have to visually see it. They have to watch the how-tos, but that's propelled barbecue and cooking so much now that I think everybody's a pit master, just about, right? I mean, in their own mind.
Certainly everybody, if they understand the core concepts.
Yep.
if they have a thermometer,
Right.
they
right.
can be darn good cooks outside. And the equipment has gotten so much better. I mean, look at the revolution in pellet smokers.
Yeah.
Traeger. I mean, Traeger was the leader of the pack. They were really, I think, among the first, if not the first. And they went on some hard times when they changed ownership and the manufacturing took place in China, and it was kind of crappy. And then a bunch of other pellet smokers came on the market, and then it changed hands again. And the current owners have really amped it up. I mean, they just introduced a new pellet smoker last week.
The Timberline?
The new Timberline, which looks really cool.
It does.
And it's got an induction hot plate on the side.
I saw
mean,
that.
it's nice to have a burner on the side to warm your sauce or cook your vegetables. This has got an induction cooker, which if your listeners don't know a lot about, this is the latest technology in stovetops, and it's really quite remarkable, and they've added it to a grill.
Right.
That's thermostatically controlled.
So that induction cooking, and it's hotter faster. It boils faster. Have you used one of these?
Yeah.
I've used them, yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm guessing.
they're phenomenal.
And when you lift the pot off, you can touch it, and it's not.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
it's
crazy.
Yeah, it's very cool technology.
Yeah.
And they're learning now that the gas stove in your house can put some unpleasant, unhealthy fumes into the air, and a lot of new condos and apartments and buildings won't allow gas stoves anymore, and they're putting in the induction.
Very cool. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, the technology's moving fast, and it's cool. And we've got to learn alike. And I know a lot of old guys like me, being an old guy. A lot of old guys say, that's all technology. That's not real barbecue. And it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Are you digging a hole in the backyard to cook your pulled pork, or are you using a steel or a metal object? A Weber Smoky Mountain. That's old guard. Come on.
Right. No, nobody's. See, I told somebody the other day. I was like cooking a whole hog or whatever else. And I was like, I grew up where we dug a hole and then we cooked them in the ground, right?
Really?
Yeah. And in fact, the first time I ever saw a whole hog on a pit, I was thinking like that. I don't know why I didn't even think about it. And I was young or whatever. I was like, that is crazy. Why don't you just dig the hole? Like that's whatever. Like, you know what I mean? But yeah, we grew up in a real small town, about 600 people. So it's
that's where I learned from YT. YT Parker's. He had a hole in the ground. The health department told him he couldn't do that anymore, so he put a concrete block unit together, and I get to hang out with those old guys, and they showed me how to cook over an open pit.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
How long? So barbecue's been a passion, but how long for you? Like,
well, I launched AmazingRibs.com as a serious hobby in 2000, somewhere around the year 2000, 2005, I forget. And by 2010, it was drawing enough traffic that it became my full-time job. It now attracts about 1 million visitors a month. We have a membership portion of the website called the Pitmaster Club, which is really cool. 18,000 members. We're bigger than KCBS.
yeah.
Wow.
18,000 paying members, and anybody who's listening to this is not going to believe this number, but it's I swear it's true. 90% renewal. I mean, in any kind of membership or subscription business, if you can get 50 to 60% renewal, you're doing good. 70% is excellent. 80 and 90% is unheard of.
Unheard of.
We're at 90.0 effective last month. We broke the sound barrier at 90.0, and it's a really great environment. The members really share and teach each other and learn. I mean, one of our oldest members just died last month, and the whole place went into mourning. They had a Saturday where everybody cooked ribs in his honor.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they know each other. They get together after hours, and they have meetups, and
Yep.
And there's a lot of cool. I mean, we give away some free ebooks. I've got 6 ebooks that are $3.99 a piece that we give to all the members, and they're on Amazon and Apple Books and Google Play. But members get it for free, and there's a bunch of. We get Barbecue News Magazine, which was being handed out here at the NBBQA conference. They get that digitally for free, so it's a cool place. There's a 30-day free trial if listeners want to check it out. They can.
Yeah, we'll
Hey,
have a link.
you'll be better barbecues for doing it, for sure.
Oh, there are people who have. We get letters and posts every day saying this is better than any cookbook I've got. So.
Right.
Yeah, it's cool.
Right. Plus, what you were saying earlier, there's also a forum where you can go back and forth. So you're talking to other people that are
Yes.
members as well, right? So
Yeah.
they're able to bounce things off each other. It's more of a camaraderie, right?
It's a
if you want to
forum.
say.
I
Yeah.
mean, people who get ready to buy a grill. I'm thinking about buying the new Hasty Bake. Anybody got one out there? What do you think about it? Now we have on AmazingRibs.com a full-time grill and smoker tester. The Max Good, this is all he does, is test grills and smokers, detailed reviews of hundreds of grills and smokers. But still, feedback from people who've owned it for 5 years is really useful, and what they like and dislike about it. We've also got a electrical engineer who tests digital thermometers. So that's really cool. I mean, we're serious about it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, Max went to the Timberline introduction last week in Salt Lake City, and they had a whole bunch of bloggers that they flew out there at their own expense. We don't do that. Max went out there at my expense. There's no free junkets. There's no free hotel rooms. He cannot fairly evaluate and talk about a product if they're sending hookers up to his room.
Right.
Right.
Not that happened.
No, right. Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, get an honest
Very
review.
cool.
Yeah. The model is Consumer Reports.
Yeah. No, definitely. Definitely.
Love that.
Well, I saw they started filing everybody into these rooms over here. So
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah,
guess we
I
gotta-
want to attend the next session.
Yeah.
Okay. But we appreciate you.
Yes.
You have no idea. Like, it's such an honor to have you on.
What a flattering
So,
opportunity.
yes, definitely.
It's an honor. Right up there with being in the Hall of Fame.
I know, right? Yeah.
I'm on the show.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that, like, at the very end, like, in case you didn't know, Hall of Fame. Right?
It's quite an honor. There's only 26 living members of the Barbecue Hall of Fame, and
Yep.
I was inducted last year, and on the third try, I was the Susan Lucci of barbecue.
Okay.
It took me a few years to get in, but I'm in, and it's quite an honor.
Very
Nice.
cool.
Thank you very
cool.
much,
We
sir.
appreciate it, brother.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, so we're joined here with Jim. Am I saying that correctly?
Jim?
Oh, we just went over this.
I'm
You
just
got my
joking.
card.
Matt,
Yes.
I'm just joking. Matt with... why are y'all... This is funny, right?
This is my favorite Matt we have here.
I know.
Oh,
I know.
thanks.
We don't
That's
like
nice.
this, Matt.
You
With
know
Morning Wood Bloody Mary, and this morning, I'm not gonna lie. It was... You probably saved my life.
Well, you're welcome.
From the night before I had, like, you have no idea how much this Bloody Mary meant to me. And I actually had the original, which I find to be one of the best Bloody Mary mixes I've ever had, to be
Thank
honest with you. And I'm having the spicy one right now, and I'm like, spicy's good. It's really good. I don't know where I'm at with it yet. I've only had a couple of sips, so
The spicy is amazing.
that's what I'm having right now.
Yeah.
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 We're on
Yeah.
the same page here.
Yeah.
Said-
Okay.
But no, yeah, thanks a lot for taking time to stop by and talk to us. So tell us a little about your company.
So we're a Morningwood Bloody Mary mix out of West Des Moines, Iowa.
Yep.
And we just came out with that spicy dill mix, so I'm glad you like that. So you're kind of our test market right now. And I do want to tell your listeners that you asked for a medium T-shirt, but we went ahead and gave you an extra large.
Okay.
After a few
Nice.
after a few of those Bloody Marys.
No, listen. You know what? Thank you so much.
Schmedium.
Yeah,
Man, you
schmedium.
did call me the wrong name.
Schmear or smart.
You've literally had 7 of those Bloody Marys by this point. So when you
Right.
say you started your day, I've continued your day, and
Yeah.
now we're almost to dinner time, so I got you there too.
You
Which
did.
is perfect because we want our dinner, our drinks to be at 5 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock at night, middle of the day, whenever you guys are ready for a Bloody Mary.
On the way to work, whatever you want to do.
You want to do it. It's just tomato juice.
Yeah, however you can commute.
That's 100% right. We're just here to stiffen up the competition.
Yeah.
We want to rise to the occasion. We want to be top 2, not 2. You know? So there's a lot of competition out there. We're trying to build a brand that is nationwide. We're in 28 states, 35 distributors. We're continuing to grow. Everybody has their particular one that they like the best, but we want to make a product that is easy for the customer. And if you're going to go to a restaurant, that you have the same experience every time with our mix.
Right.
Meaning that whether it's Jan making it or Matt making it, we probably know that Jan pours a little heavy on the vodka.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that the mix itself is the exact same. So you don't have to add hot sauce. You don't have to add Worcestershire. You can dress it up all you want, but in the bottle is what you need, and we're here to prove that for you.
Listen, I'm normally a salt guy or whatever on the rim, but one drink of this, and I was like, well, I don't need. It has the sodium in it too, right? It has all the different things you're looking for. I am a Bloody Mary guy. I mean, I have been a Bloody Mary guy for, I think, since I saw my parents make one on a Sunday morning, right? And I'm like, what is this thing?
I mean, before church is the ideal time.
Right, of course.
Essentially.
On the way to church, really.
Right.
Well, we talked about that driving too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Matt. So, it's all fun and games, but, we're here to just change the business.
Yeah.
We're here to stiffen it up, as I mentioned before.
What's the, so how long have y'all been out for?
Since 2019.
19, okay.
So relatively new. And then the pandemic hit.
Yep.
And then we still had a successful 2020. And then 2021 has really kicked off. 2022 has grown exponentially.
Nice.
And we're at this NBBQA event right now, just trying to get the word out and let the customer know that there is other availability for Bloody Mary mixes.
Right.
And that's where Morning Wood comes into the play.
I love the name too. Right.
Well, thank you.
I was going to ask. Right? I'm sure you get asked all the time. Where'd you guys come up with that?
He's like, you don't want to hear that story.
Yeah, right.
Well, so the owners of the company they own a few restaurants in the Des Moines area, and they were tired of using your generic Bloody Mary mix. I'm not going to mention them because I don't want to give them any publicity, but we're here for Morning Wood Bloody Mary mix. They went to the bar and restaurant show in Las Vegas, and they tasted a bunch of them, figured out what they wanted to do, and it came down to we want consistency in a glass.
Yep.
And that's our pride. We want to make sure that every Bloody Mary you taste that had Morning Wood Bloody Mary mix in it was the exact same from the previous one.
Right.
And it's going to set you apart from everybody else. So you don't have to add anything, like I said, hot sauce or anything like that. Every single time that a bartender or server pours one of our products, we want to make sure it tastes like the one you expected.
Yeah, I was so surprised when Jan brought those over for us today. I thought you had dressed it up over there and everything. I thought it had all the stuff added to it because that's how it tasted. And then he just told me, like, no, that's just how it comes out of the bottle. I was like, wow, okay.
Well, as it said, and Jan saw on the door, it says, "Shake it, baby, shake it." It says, "Shake it, baby, shake it" on our bottles. It's a fantastic product. It's brand new, relatively new to a lot of different markets. We're trying to get down here into the Texas market right now at the moment, which we're going to leverage this podcast. Grab them by the brisket, baby. And then we are going to move it forward and hopefully just build it into something that's common knowledge, similar to what you were accustomed to in your everyday liquor store.
No, definitely. And that's, especially, I think you hit the nail on the head there. We talk about the restaurant business being a consistent and everything else. But think about this. Watching somebody prepare a Bloody Mary at a bar, it takes so much freaking time when they're trying to add every single thing. They're dashing here. And when they're dashing and they're adding, it's never going to be the same Bloody Mary when you do it again, right?
You're 100% right.
And
So if I can save you 30 seconds making a Bloody Mary, and you do that 10 times, I've saved you 5 minutes.
That's right.
Which you can go serve another customer.
That's right. So
and this product is right there for you. And it's price lined right with our competitors. You name them, we are going to be there with them, and our flavor is going to kick them out of the water.
So, and something else I noticed on this is that they had the, you get the remnants, right? The spices that you have in here, the seasonings that are already in here. You're kind of, when I got done with it, I looked down, it's like, this is like a craft Bloody Mary.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
And that's it blew me away. I'm not going to joke. I am a big Bloody Mary guy. I've entered a bunch of Bloody Mary competitions. I've used various. It doesn't really matter which sauce or which Bloody Mary mix I've used in the past. Right, I've won with all the little major players and whatever else out there. And I'm always dressing. I'm always doing something a little bit different in them. The one thing I don't do is horseradish. I'm sorry, I just don't want it in my Bloody Mary. That's for That's for different people. I don't know who does that, but people swear by it and they love it. It's a flavor profile is not good for me, you know, when it's that like very fresh in there, you know, what you've seen or something. But I'm not going to try to gloat here. I'm not going
every
to.
time.
Is this the Fireball
bring this
story?
up again. But I think is it 4-time or 5-time? I'm 4 or 5-time Bloody Mary champion. It's a thing at my house. Like when we do Bloody Marys at the house, my wife's like, no, it's fine. Jan will make them all. And I sit there and I just have a Bloody Mary bar and I just make Bloody Marys, you know. I love it. I turned one in without vodka, still won.
Yep.
I turned one in with
Fireball.
Fireball, still won, which is odd, right? But it just hit. People just like, and I didn't do it because like we wanted to see what Fireball tasted like.
You forgot to bring the vodka.
We didn't have any vodka.
I
right?
get it.
So somebody had. I said, I'll turn that in. It's fine. And then it was kind of a joke thing. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to. And then sure enough, I started walking up to the stage, and everybody knew I'd used Fireball. They're like, this dude's like trying to joke with us, or he's selling it. Look at him. He's going to walk all the way up there like an idiot and turn around. I walked all the way up there and gave him my ticket. Took that.
Yeah,
because
they don't announce the name; they just announce the number.
Sure. Yeah.
So we thought he was joking when he's walking up there for that first place, and then we're like, "Oh, he's not joking; he's still going up
he's
there."
handing a ticket. Dude, what this guy's crazy. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, look at, I cannot believe.
Well, I want to see now that we got a couple bottles. Like next time you make some for your wife, just like pour that in there and just hand it to her and just see what she says.
She'll love it.
You know what I mean?
I know the flavor profile she wants. Like you get a little bit of lime in this already. You get a little bit like citrus or something there, right?
Yes.
This is a really, really. This is blowing my socks. This is a really good mix. I'm being
Well, I
serious.
appreciate that. And I know you guys do a lot of beer reviews. So
We do.
is this your first Bloody Mary review?
Yeah, that first Bloody Mary
How about that?
review. Yeah.
With Morningwood?
There it is.
What a great thing.
There it is.
You know, back when we started, out of a truck in Des Moines, Iowa, and our first account was a Hy-Vee grocery store, just taking a chance on the small business.
Yeah.
And we were able to build that into what we are today, and to be at this event at the NBBQA with you guys and talking about it is something that is very proud. You have to be proud about what you do.
Yeah.
And some people look at me like, oh, you sell Bloody Mary mix. I'm like, yeah, I sell Bloody Mary mix, but do you know the name?
Yeah.
You tell them the name, they're like, oh, can I try it? Can I get a T-shirt? Like, you guys have T-shirts now, you're medium. These guys wanted their smalls.
Well, it's like you could have like even the marketing thing. I could have like this whole like whatever, somebody waking up and going, what, I love waking up to Morningwood.
Absolutely.
Right? You've heard that 100 times, right?
Absolutely.
A million times, right? But that's things that, that I don't know. I don't even see commercials for Bloody Mary mix really anymore. People know what it is and that kind of thing. But I definitely think for a social media aspect and whatever, y'all could have some really good content.
And
coming out.
what we're thankful for is that our partners, so our distributors that we look for in different states, they really take it on too.
Yeah.
They know they have something that's a high quality Bloody Mary mix that we provide in a bottle that they don't have to do anything extra to, and they are willing to help us build the brand.
Nice.
So if you follow us on TikTok at MW Bloody Mary, I hope that's right. If it's not, I'm going to look terrible. You guys will cut that out.
We'll have the right one.
I will make sure it's right on our
Yeah.
TikTok. But there is a distributor in there that has a whole commercial of people shake it, baby, shake it, their Bloody Mary mix. I mean, it is very raunchy,
Yeah.
but appropriate for a product with the name of Morningwood.
Right.
If we're gonna have rise to the occasion as our slogan.
Jane's
shake
over
it,
here like,
baby,
what is
shake
that Twitter again? Can I look this?
looking it up right now, or
Yeah.
if you want we want to stiffen up the competition,
Oh,
just
yeah.
to play on the words.
Sure.
There's a lot of things that we can do, and we're not focal, like we're not looking for a particular person. It's not a male dominant joke. It's not. It's
definitely.
a quality product that everybody can love, and that's what we really want to go for. Regardless of the name, it doesn't matter, because that name is going to get you one purchase. The flavor is going to get you 2, 3, 4, and 5 purchases,
Yep.
and that's what we want. And if we can be price lined with our competitors, then we are well ahead of their game.
Then why not?
Exactly right.
Why not?
So where do we get it now?
Well, we're working on the Texas market. That's kind of why I'm down here for the NBBQA. I personally look over the southeast. So if you're over in Tennessee, you can get it West Tennessee Crown. If you're in Mississippi, Southern States Beverages has it. Working on Alabama, Louisiana, it's International Wine and Spirits. And if you look at our website, there's 28 states with 35 distributors on there. MorningwoodBloodyMary.com. Pretty simple. It's in the name. And as we update that and fill it in and get more customers on board, I think we'll have a better understanding of where our markets are going to be. But if you look at who's drinking Bloody Marys, is generally going to be on your coast or vacation spots because people are waking up on vacation. I need a Bloody Mary, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
your traditional spots of just intercoastal United States, or they still drink Bloody Mary, so we want to target them, but we want to make sure that we're offering the best Bloody Mary possible. Yeah. And I can say Bloody Mary all the time, and it gets like to be a mouthful.
Yeah.
So this juice is fantastic.
This juice is awesome.
Yeah.
No, it really is, man. Like I don't know. Like this one's definitely got a kick. That back end, it sneaks up on you a little bit, but it's there. This is something. This spicy one is one that I would. My wife has a spice tolerance, right? She likes it spicy, but this fits right in. Like I would not have to do anything to this. And it's not overly spicy.
Right.
It's just got a little back end. You go, that's still there,
Yeah, it kind of fills the back of your mouth, right?
Yeah,
like
that's
it fills the back end. It's not going to overpower you. In our original, the OG, I mean, that is why we got started. So John and Matt both have the OG.
Okay.
They can kind of talk onto that. You're talking to the spicy one.
Well, he had the original one earlier.
Yeah,
that was the first one he had.
And we also have a Thrill of the Dill, and our Thrill of the Dill has won all the awards. I mean, it is just not as spicy.
Right.
So what we were finding is people were mixing our original with our dill just to get more kick. Deal. Let's just go make a spicy dill.
Right on.
And here we are. So now we have 3 flavors, and we're coming out with RTDs, the ready-to-drinks. They're going to be in a can, morning wood in a can. What more could you ask?
Dude, that sounds amazing.
What could you ask for? Yeah. Not to mention, they're nutritional.
Yes. There is 6 grams of protein in that cup.
It's like drinking a V8, right?
That's 6 grams of protein.
Yeah.
How many vitamins and nutrients are in this thing?
All of them. They're all in there. Yeah.
All of them are in
true.
there.
Yeah.
Well, we're not here to talk about the vodka end of it, but you could also use bourbon.
Yeah.
You could use gin. I mean, you can make a number of different drinks with this. My wife likes to use it in a roast, in a crock pot. Put a rump roast in there, let it marinate a little bit.
Oh, dude, we gotta try that.
I personally like to use it with fajitas. I use the OG with fajitas, so I let the chicken marinate a little bit, get some little spice into it.
Yeah.
My wife also made a wing sauce out of the dill. So we had like a hot wing sauce with morning wood Bloody Mary
Very
mix.
cool.
I mean, there's a lot of things you can really do. It's not just Bloody Mary mix.
Sure.
It's not just that it goes with vodka or bourbon or gin. I prefer it that way.
Right.
But in the end of the day, I mean, we're here just to push or sell a product that the customer wants.
Right. Right.
And we're talking about like restaurants or such like that, right? So you have overhead costs of every little bottle of hot sauce you buy, or every little Worcestershire bottle you buy, or something like that.
Yep.
You don't have to purchase that anymore. Your consistency in every single glass, whether it's Mike, Jan, or John, is going to make the exact same Bloody Mary, and your customers are. Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good to see you, buddy. You just get here?
Yeah. Damn, Matt. Just way to show up, bro.
Yeah. So whether you want it to be consistent, every customer is getting the exact same thing, same experience. It's all about the experience, right?
No, like I said, I was blown away. I was like, well, obviously this is not going to be good because you pour. I was like, this is not going to be good. Like I need some salt, I need some lime, I need some moisture, I need a little olive juice. There's a whole lot of things in my mind. I'm like, I need this, I need that, and then
You're
I'm
so
like,
bougie.
first, I am. But the first sip, I go, shh, don't say a word. Just drink Bloody Mary. Be nice, right? Because this is freaking amazing.
Well, yeah, it's free, first of all.
Well, it doesn't matter, right?
I don't want your listeners to think
He'll
you guys are
complain,
buying Bloody Mary from me right now.
No.
This is not a paid endorsement.
It's not. It's not. But again, hey, listen. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I've had. And I'm just curious. What is the Bloody Mary market like? Like, is
Very
it saturated?
It's very difficult. It is very difficult. It's a lot of regional brands, which I completely understand. So a lot of people are proud of their Bloody Mary mix. I mean, it is something like we're here at this barbecue event. Yeah. They're proud of their spices. They're proud of their rubs. They're proud of everything. And it's a pride thing, right? So we want to make sure that we can break the pride. You can be proud. That's great. But how can we offer you a product that's reasonably cost, but it's far superior?
Right.
And that's what we're going for. So depending on where you are, I mean, if you go into the Carolinas, there's a very popular mix down there.
Yep.
There's a very popular mix that's nationwide. There's a very popular mix in Memphis, Tennessee, where I'm at. I mean, there's a lot of different mixes that are very popular, and it's very difficult to break the barrier of being regional.
Yep.
We're going to break that barrier.
There it is.
We have a
mission.
full body. Oh yeah, we have a full body Bloody Mary mix that you don't have to add anything to, like we've been talking about, and that's our goal. We want to make sure everybody has the same experience.
Do you have a mission statement for y'all's company? Have a mission statement? Y'all
I'm
creative one?
sure we do.
We want every person in America to wake up with morning wood.
Right.
There you go.
There you go.
There it is.
That's just
There you go.
Why not?
That sounds hard.
Why not?
Okay.
You get it?
Yeah, just
get
keep
it?
it
I
up.
didn't get it.
You
Keep
get
it up,
I
John.
didn't
Keep
get
it up. I got
Did
it.
not get it,
All
John.
right.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Following deaf ears there. I don't know what you're saying.
Okay, I'll explain it later.
Okay. Look, man, we appreciate you stopping in. Can you plug your social medias? And y'all have any TikToks? You said you were?
Yeah,
doing something whatever.
We just followed him. I'll put a link in the. I'll put a link in the description.
Okay,
for it.
good.
And I believe it's MW Bloody Mary because I don't believe it or not, putting morning wood.
Just weird.
It's very hard.
Instant cancel.
And I have to change my email address because a lot of times when I put Morningwood, at Morningwood at Matt Duffy or whatever,
Right.
Yeah.
it would go to spam.
Spam.
Yeah, so now it's like MW.
MW. Yeah.
Because we're all from the Midwest, so it works out pretty good. So we're Midwest Bloody Mary mix.
Midwest. That's it.
But
Yeah.
we're really Morningwood Bloody Mary mix. But we're out of West Des Moines, Iowa.
Nice.
Startup company in 2019. Started out of a van or a
Very
truck,
cool.
And that's just the way we've been plugging away ever since. And then, I started with the company about last year in 2021. And, in the Southeast alone, we've grown into 5 states. You're right. So I told you we started in 2019 and we're in 28 states, 35 distributors. We're building like crazy.
Yeah.
And it's a product that people want. Like I told you, the
Yeah.
name's going to get you 1 purchase.
Right.
The flavor is going to get you 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
That's right.
And that's
Yeah.
the goal.
So
How
it
can we
keeps
get repeat
people
customers?
coming back.
We got to hook them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I think you've got a winner here, brother.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yes, for
yeah.
sure.
You guys are
So-
stand-up guys. No pun intended.
Nice.
They've had a lot of bloody Marys.
No.
All right, cool.
Cool.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah.
Good.
Definitely.
Good to see you,
Appreciate
Mike.
you, brother.
Hey, Matt. Just kidding, buddy.
I hope you guys are having as much fun as we are. That's as much as we can fit in one episode, but we have so many more interviews coming up for you.
That is right. We do. We have coming up on the next episode, part 2, if you want, or whatever. Brad Orson, Brooke Orson with the Shed Barbecue. Brendan Lamb, we know who this guy is, right? Smiley's Barbecue, La Barbecue. And also Jason Cunningham, I think I'm saying that right, and David Elliott with Trauma Hogs Barbecue.
And if you want to get a hold of us, you can reach us at grabhimthebrisket.com. Email us, reach all of our socials there.
Dang it, Bobby. Just grab the brisket. We'd like to give a special thanks to Sucklebusters Barbecue Rubs and Sauces, Bolner's Fiesta Spices, CoolieNation Custom Koozies, Cambro Manufacturing, YETI Coolers, the Smoke Sheep Barbecue Newsletter, and Dalstrong Knives. We definitely appreciate your support.